Well, I've just completely lost my mind, you see. It's just all there is to it. I've just completely lost it. Okay, I'm going to get around to talking about ring binders and plotters and Mee Plus and those things. But first, I have to give you some history. Some history about me. I'm retired. I have a lot of fountain pens. I've got a lot of notebooks. I like notebooks. I like notebooks a lot. I like notebooks of all kinds. Sometimes I kind of get in a track with something and use that for a while and then kind of get tired of it. But I have things that I require. First of all, of course, the paper has to be excellent. It has to be fountain pen friendly. It has to be portable. It has to feel good in my hand. And then I like covers, you know? So, for instance, Clairefontaine, good paper, but it doesn't do anything for me. Also, it doesn't lie flat very well. But do I have, like 15 Clairefontaine notebooks? Yes. Yes. Because I go into a store and I see it and I think, well, I could use a new notebook. I have hundreds of them. For a while, I was kind of crazy for these notebooks. Nemesines. Why? Lie flat. Excellent paper. Sort of an interesting pattern on the page. Perforated sheets. That was great because if something went wrong, I could get rid of it. Probably all in all, if I had my druthers, I would use these author notebooks by GLP Creations. They don't lie flat super well, but good enough, put a little weight on it. You can write easily. Paper's good. This faux leather cover feels great, but they're expensive. Not that expense really matters with what's coming up here. But okay, so I could just carry them like that, but why do that? I have to look at, different kinds of systems for carrying these things around, all of which I love and have gone through periods of really loving. I really like Lockerbie. I like them because I like their ethic. I like their products. But this is just too much crap to carry around. They have a new one with a zipper that I might get though. And don't even get me started talking about field notes. Because first of all, I have about 200 field notes that I could sell you. And I'm not kidding about that because I'm over the field notes thing. But, so various field notes, sometimes they have good fountain pen paper, sometimes they don't. And then, of course, I had to buy a zillion different covers for the field notes. And then, really I didn't use them that much. I carried them, but I didn't use them. So of these ones that I have to sell, most of them are still in the cellophane. Because, I had to subscribe. Here's the thing. I was working. I was going to lots of meetings. I was going to lots of meetings where I was the one running the meeting. So I needed to take notes. I needed to be prepared to take notes. I needed to plan out the meetings. And while I also like my technology, I've got 2 iPads and an iPhone and 3 computers and 3 functioning computers and, whatever. I like gadgets and I like technology. And in terms of keeping a calendar, I had to do that online because I had other people who had to have access to my calendar and had to manage it. And so that worked for me and I had to sync it across devices. That's not so important now. But I also got nowhere to go and nothing to do. So I really need to keep a calendar. Anyway, but I also love analog stuff. So there I am. I have this obsession with paper and pens. I have a zillion notebooks, most of which just have a few pages written in them. And then I was alerted to the existence of Plotter. These little ring binders. Fabulous leather. Fabulous leather. Nice paper. Nice little, I like dot grid, and then various kinds of inserts that do different things. Really high quality. And look at those rings. They're so cute. Gosh, they're so cute. And you know, this would fit in it's a little heavy, but it would fit in a jacket pocket. So this became my thing. But then, of course, because this became my thing, I had to get another one. And thus the slippery slope. And all of this, let me emphasize, I am retired. I don't go to meetings anymore. Back in the day when I might use one notebook for meetings with my own staff, another notebook for meetings with the provost, another book for, my random thoughts. The plotter seemed like, oh, fantastic. I can do all of those things in one notebook that I carry around and love on and wear in and is mine. It's mine. I'm sitting here at whatever meeting I'm at, I have mine. I can just use one, and I can take out the pages and move them into folders according to whatever group they go with or whatever project it goes with, that sort of thing. Excellent. Did I do that? Well, no, I didn't do that. I got another plotter. I decided, I like this so much. And that little Bible size looks so cute, which other brands call personal size. It looks so cute in this wine leather, Lissia leather. It's lovely. I'll just get another notebook. And then I'll use this one just for random notes, carrying it around. And then I'll actually take this one to meetings. Here's one of my cats. It's early in the morning, so he's going to want to stay here. Do you mind? Are you allergic? I'm allergic, but it doesn't stop me. So then I have two plotters, and I use them for different things. Once again, the whole point is that the plotter is a ring binder system. You can open it up, take a page out, put it someplace else. No, I use them for separate things. Okay, I love you, but I'm putting you down. This is going to last about a minute and a half. Well, then I retire. And I don't really have separate things because I'm not a notebooker. I mean, I'm saying I'm a notebooker and that I love notebooks, but I don't like cut out things and paste things and do crafty kind of stuff like that. Stickers and washi tape and all those things. I'm not a decorator-upper. Again, I have no appointment, so I have no reason to keep a daily calendar or a yearly calendar or a monthly calendar or a lifetime calendar or any of those things. I haven't given up my iPhone for when, I got to write down a doctor's appointment because you know what? That will actually send me an alert and remind me that it's Wednesday, not Tuesday, Sherry. You need to go to your pulmonologist. So yeah, I don't really need all these notebooks. I need a journal. Got a journal. Got a lot of forms in which to put the journals. But then I decide, well, I love these plotters, so why don't I get an A5? because that's the size that I really like to journal in. So I was at the Chicago show, and Atlas had just started handling plotters, and I got an A5, and I got a blue one. This is a blue one, which suddenly, and I mean suddenly, it was like overnight, it turned black. Not blue, not navy blue. I mean, it's black. And again, love the leather. Got the Lucia leather again. You know, like $300 or something for this and all the little accessories I got in it. But if you've watched any of my videos, or if you watched this video up to now, and congratulations on you for hanging with it, or I'm sorry you don't have a better life, I like color. I like lots of color. So, you know, a black notebook, if I were still getting dressed up and wearing something other than tennis shoes, which, by the way, when I worked, I mostly wear tennis shoes unless I was going out to something. The classy black, that's not what I want. By the way, somewhere along the line, I bought a second narrow plotter. Why? Because I was in this mindset of using them for different things. And so I thought, this was actually shortly after I retired, I thought I'll use this one just to keep a record of all the books that I'm reading. Because my first year of retirement, I'm still reading a lot, but my first year I was reading a lot. Like I read about 150 books that first year. Again, could have just put it in a section in here. No, dedicated notebook. But you know what? I like the color. Is this sort of tealy blue color. So, I have an A5, which is now my primary journaling, carry it on vacation notebook. Bible size, I'm carrying around town. This desk, carrying on vacation, write long form writing. But it's black. So what do I decide? $300. So what do I decide? I need to get another one. So in the meantime, I start watching tons of videos of people using their 3-ring binders. They're very handsy videos, by the way. Camera's up here on the table, and hands are doing things. Flipping pages and showing you things. Very handsy videos. I'm a very mouthy video. We'll get to a little bit of handsy in a minute, but mostly mouthy, not handsy. So I'm watching videos about how people use things, and I'm getting some ideas. And I get the ideas, and I think, no, I'll never do that. And then I get another idea, and I think, well, I'll never do that. But anyway, you know, I'm learning some things about how people use these kinds of notebooks in interesting ways. And then I start to get a little bit curious about the kind of decorating stuff that people do. That's a whole other thing. I'm not anywhere near there yet, but I do love what people do. I think it's amazing. Anyway, so I find out about this company called Mee Plus, which also make 3-ring binders. They look a lot like plotters, but they cost, I mean, tariffs are coming, so who knows? And this is a company in Hong Kong, but as of the moment, they cost 30% less, something like that. Still high quality product. I did an earlier video. It was a quick look. And so I thought, well, I'm not gonna get a narrow one. We know that. I'm not quite ready to do the spend on another A5 because I'm still thinking, okay, it's black, Sherry, just get used to it. So I think, well, I don't have this size. So I get this size. And okay, first of all, the leather is olive. It's Pueblo leather. It's wearing in absolutely beautifully. It is adorable. It fits in the front pocket of my pants. Lots of different cool inserts, although really all I want is the dot grid. Great little notebook. And they have these little lifter things that serve as a band to keep it all together. I don't have it overstuffed, so I don't really need the band, but I like the way the look of the band is. Then it also has this pen holder. Problem, pen holder holds very few pens because I decided I wanted the small one because I didn't like the look of the big one. Okay, from now on it's the big one. But for a long time, I could only find one pen in my collection that would fit it, this Quebeco. I think I said all this in the previous video, I'm sorry. And then yesterday I went like ding, 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 ding. My Parker 75 will fit in there. A 51 won't fit. Caran d'Ache won't fit. I love these little Hongdian, that's not Hongdian. Little Hongdian pens won't fit. Pencils, yeah. Not the mechanical pencil. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. But adorable. What the hell do I use it for? I don't know what to use it for. I mean, I got all these other notebooks and, you know, I don't go out in the world and have to do quick note stuff. Still got my iPhone. But it's cute. It's very cute. Then things start to come together a little bit. So I've already told you I love this Bible size. Love it. It's just the form factor is great. It's too small for my long form writing, for working on my book or doing my real journaling, but it's a great size to carry. Really like it. And I have since for the last few months, I've been doing a lot of reading that involves research and following threads and letting one book lead me to another and tracking references and going to the library and getting stuff through interlibrary loan and that sort of thing. And so what I've started to do, and it's working, is again, right? I've got separate notebooks doing separate things instead of really using the plotter as it's designed. But I use the Bible size to take my notes, okay, in my very tiny handwriting. And then I use this to write down the books I want to go to the library and find, or the references I need to look up. And then this can be moved into this when I want them next to each other, or even better, can be moved into one of these little project folders that you can get from Plotter, which is basically just a little wraparound for some of the pages. But it works if you want to keep some things private, or if you want to keep some things separate and you don't like a lot of tags sticking out. I mean, you can use tags and dividers and stuff. So there's that. So finally, I'm seeing how I can use this, which is great. It's wearing in wonderfully. I'm completely in love with it. The Pueblo leather is has more texture. It's a little rougher. Rough isn't the right word though. It's texture-y. Relative to the Licio, but after about a month, this is starting to get smoother and smoother and getting much closer to this. Of course, this is getting softer over time too. and it is darkening and all that. And they look, I think they look beautiful together. I like carrying them together. They make me very, very happy. And I've now gotten far enough into my research. You know, I'm only putting air quotes around it because I'm never going to write a scholarly article about this stuff. So it's just following my own intellectual curiosity. But it is research, you know. I'm taking notes, looking up articles, using the library, all that stuff. But there are, and I'm now, as I'm getting into it, there are different areas within this research that I find I want to pursue more or less, or I can't just decide I'm going to do A, and then B. You know, I'll do A, and that'll lead me into, oh, maybe I got to look at this a little bit. So I'm kind of spinning back and forth between subtopics, periods, that sort of stuff. Plotter. Now I'm starting to use this the way I ought, in that I'm sectioning things off. I'm moving things around. If I take my notes according to one article that's in this particular area, I can move it to another sub area, or I can move it when I'm kind of done with that area. I can move it into a folder, and I'm actually moving things around. Sometimes I take these little pages out of here and I put them in here next to the section that I'm working on. So, you know, this is great. I take this to the library to look stuff up. I use this next to my books to do my note-taking. Happy, 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 happy. Happy, happy, happy. Really happy. Really like Mee Plus. Really like Mee Plus. Black. Yeah. So I ordered another A5 for Mee Plus in the olive leather. By the way, look at the difference. This is a month. Look at the difference. This is probably going to be black in a year. Look at the difference. Now, some things about Mee Plus that I think make them superior to Plotter, besides the price. You know, people talk about all the great inserts that Plotter has. All right, well, that's cool. Again, if you've got to do a day tracker versus a month tracker versus this, that, the other thing, I don't need to do all that shit. I just need some paper. And all the tracker stuff and Filofax stuff fits in these binder systems because the spacing of the rings is consistent across them. Mee Plus has these nicely rounded ends. Plotter, well, I filed them off, but Plotter, here's one I haven't filed off. Plotter has these really sharp ends. So that's a good thing. Otherwise, they're awfully similar, except for this. Mee Plus gives you the option of getting bigger rings. So these are 11 millimeter rings. 11 millimeter rings. See how thin that is? And I have not overstuffed either one of these. These are 16 millimeter rings. I better compare it to this one. So they are quite a bit bigger. And what does that mean? Well, obviously, it means you can put more paper in here, which the way I use them, which is a good thing. It's not a necessary thing because you can move stuff around. You can take them out. You can store it. You can put it in another binder. But also, every object you use, right? Every note, every tag, every lifter or divider, that also takes space in the rings. So having the bigger rings, which aren't quite as cute, I have to confess. They aren't quite as cute, but they are in many ways more functional. It gives you more space to move in the notebook and more room to use different things. For instance, back when I was trying to figure out what to do with the narrow, which in the end, the paper is not, or the this narrow paper was not doing for me what I wanted. You know, I needed a little more space this way. Elongating my notes this way was not being helpful to me. So just a how I think thing. I'm not a list maker, for instance. So one of the things that I did to try and make this more useful is I got one of Plotter's zipper bags for it, which I thought, well, if I have that, then maybe I'll carry, I can use it to carry a little bit more than just pieces of paper. But what I found is this Plotter insert is double-sided. It fits over the rings. That and one little notebook, and this is starting to get a little overstuffed. Also, it sticks out at the end, which is like icky. So if I had a lifter in here or a strap with a card on it and a pen holder, this would start to look sloppy, and these are too elegant and lovely for that. So the small rings, I feel, don't allow you to really keep the plotter looking neat and yet have a lot of usefulness. Now, you're going to see lots of handsy videos where people do all kinds of stuff with all this, but then they end up having plotters that are bulked up like this, and I don't like that look. I just don't like it. I don't like the look. I like the sleekness. But let me also show you something else. Has anything been written in this? Why, no. Beautiful. Love it. Got the bigger pen holder, so it'll even hold my big old scribo. A little tightly, but it holds it. And I want it to be tight because I don't want my scribo falling on the ground. But this is mine. See? Okay. So I haven't been able to transition into the big one because even though this is black, it's the one I've been writing in for a couple years. In other words, I'm still treating the writing thing like it's a closed notebook, like it's a not tear out kind of notebook, not tear out and change your mind and move on notebook, but rather fixed. So moving to another notebook, well, let's just say it just hasn't happened yet. Okay. But guess what? I didn't stop there because I thought, I love the Bible size. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. And I really love these two olive notebooks. And I love these two wine colored notebooks. And I like this. You can see I've hardly used this because I don't like the narrow size. Why did I get another narrow one? So I got another Mee Plus. And I thought, well, I need to make it functionally different. So I got it with the bigger rings. So for about 2 weeks, this is why I haven't had a follow-up on that first video. So for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it's been, 2 weeks, I guess. Same problem as with this one. Can't write in it. Can't make myself move on from this. Just this week, I've started to do it. I thought, okay, I'm going to try using one of these little tracker deals. Day tracker. And I don't want to show you because I got personal information on here now, but let me show you a blank one. they've got these this is a wellness tracker. And, you know, I do need to track things like blood pressure and some other things, which, yeah, I do that on my phone. I do that automatically, syncs with my cuff, all that. But I thought, okay, well, we'll do this on paper for a while. It might help keep me responsible. I've got some different kinds of papers, and I just decided I've got to start using this. So I'm now kind of going back and forth between these two for my note taking. But I'm doing it in this way. So there's certain things that that I read sitting at this desk that I'm at right now. Then sometimes I read on my couch, and sometimes I work at the library. So this has become my, for the moment, my at my desk notebook. This is the Traveler. Because this holds more stuff, I will be moving as I kind of get through topics. I will be moving things more into this, I think, and eventually we'll get to this as kind of my research notebook, and this will be my daily carry. This will probably also be a daily carry, and kind of go, you know, kind of research and daily carry together. One of the things, notice I got no plan for these guys. You may be seeing them on eBay. One of the things that I have picked up from all the handsy videos that I really, that speaks to me is the notion of a common book, where you have a book where you, and people do it differently. I mean, a lot of people involve stickers and stuff. That's not going to be me. But it's a place where you put, record movies that you've seen and your thoughts on them and your appointments, yes, but also quotes that you like and books that you want to read and stuff. And that is something that I've never done in a very organized way, but is very much how I think. You know, I love writing down quotes. I love memorizing things. I love new words. That's a big thing. New words, right? So I think that over time, these will serve common book functions. Whether that's where the pages end up or not, a whole other deal. But the smallness of this, suddenly the smallness of this makes another kind of sense to me, because I had this thing about blank pages, right? I don't want to fill one of these pages with a quote I just read, or 10 quotes on a page that don't have anything to do with each other. But a little piece of paper like this that I then can put in terms of notes about literature, notes about language, notes about gratitude, that can work for me. Of course, you know, I might have to leave the house once in a while, but so this is my madness. This is my madness. I haven't gotten any handsy stuff, I'm sorry. This is my madness that I have, I've gotten all these notebooks that are designed to tear papers out and move, not tear, but to neatly remove papers and move them around. And I continue to use them as if they're a stack of these things. Although I'm beginning to see ways to maybe get out of that a little bit. And part of the problem is because I'm crazy. Part of the problem is I like them. I like them, and I find that they are writing that they're writing several different interests of mine, feelings of mine in a way. Paper and pen, okay, obviously. I like the feel of things. I like getting to know things. I like feeling like that's my journal. That's my book. That's my, that's my note taker. That's the thing I'm going to have forever. I get attached in that way. But I also love them as objects. They have different kinds of leathers, different colors of leather, different feel. And so that touches on my desire for accumulation and collecting. I mean, that's accumulation. Different colors, different feels. So that's my madness. That's my review of these notebooks. I highly, highly recommend Mee Plus. You sacrifice zero in quality or style or elegance. You have a few more options for customization. You can also pick different spine colors, and you can pick different ring colors. You have to pay extra for those picks. So for instance, yes, I picked the gold spine. The default is a silver spine, but I stayed with the silver rings because they're inside. I don't really care if it's a different color. So I didn't want to spend the extra, whatever it is, $10 for that. You can get these great lifters unless you are just someone who is going to use a pencil, or you have a very, very thin pen that you enjoy. Do not get the narrow one. I believe they're supposed to be 11 millimeters, but I have pens that are 11 millimeters and they don't really fit. So, it might be like 10.8, and also the ones that are in the neighborhood of 11, they fit tightly. So you can't have a slip cap because you'll pull it off and ink yourself up. So, keep that in mind if you really like the aesthetic and want to stick with the smaller holder. Now, if you're using just a regular old pencil, well, first of all, it's going to slip right through, but like this is a Caran d'Ache mechanical pencil, super thin. It fits great. But I'm not really a pencil user. One other thing I wanted to note, I know this is a super long video, sorry. But one other thing I wanted to note is I've mentioned before that Mee Plus has this paper which is very thin, but it still holds ink really well. It doesn't do bleed through. It doesn't really do show through. You can write on both sides of the paper if you want. It's inexpensive. Because it's thinner, you can get more pages in your notebooks. All those things are great. It's not very good for pencil. So it's a little too coated for. So for those of you who who are primarily pencil users, I would stay away from the Mee Plus thinner paper. Though otherwise, I think it's great. Okay, really, I'm going to shut up now. And I'm sorry I didn't get anything handsy. Do you think I need another mini?